making love to me on the living room floor. I love to be with him. I love reading books with him, and
It's all up here. It's all up here.
and he's sexy.
My husband is very impressed by certain things which I apparently cannot give him.
Here, take it easy.
What do you deny? He's been looking into your eyes for over an hour.
You're a little drunk.
No, just stop it. This is just crazy. I married Ken, and that's all there is to it.
How can you marry Ken? You love me.
What? You're so conceited. What makes you think that I love you?
I know.
It was a time that we were dying to be together.
Mary, you're still the most desirable woman I know.
But we won't make love tonight because there'll be some excuse. I hadn't realized how much of that had slipped away until today.
I told you there was another man once. I sometimes wonder if I made the right choice.
Hey there, and welcome back to Dave's Movie Diary. Today I'm talking about another Woody Allen film called Another Woman, released in 1988. I've been getting into a few Woody Allens lately, probably because they're all disappearing soon from Prime Amazon, and I thought, I'm just gonna get through some of these and see them while I can, because I've been burnt before, too many times now. I think on these streaming platforms, I've got these long wish lists that I think I'm going to get around to, and I get really excited when I see certain films pop up that I haven't seen for ages, and I add them to the wish list. And for whatever reason, I just don't get around to seeing some of them, and then they disappear, and some of them don't come back. It's just the way it is now with rights holders. It's not as good as it was in the old days, folks, when you had all the VHSs there, and they didn't go anywhere. Probably the biggest problem you had back then was, yes, you had to physically go out and go to the video store and pick them up and then return them. But unless they'd only just been released and they were hugely popular, maybe you had to wait around for them. You could see all these films, and now, yes, you've got them at your fingertips. It's more convenient. The quality's better. The TVs are better, all that stuff. But just in actually finding the film, some of them, I fear, have just gone. There's a whole stack of films, especially from the 70s and 80s, that I just haven't seen come back around. Anyway, that's why I've been just ticking a few of these off my list. And this one fits the bill as well. I thought this is sounding repetitive, but I thought I'd seen this movie. Maybe I have, but I just don't have any recollection of it. I've said on some of the other Woody Allen pods that at some point in the early to mid 90s, one of the TV channels here in Australia, either ABC or SBS had all of them kind of on, like, one a week or something, and a bit of a commentary about them. Or maybe it could have even been Channel 10 with Bill Collins introducing them. Who knows? And I watched a lot of them, and I thought I'd seen this one. But when I sat down for this, I realized I'm pretty sure I haven't. Let's go with that. Even if I had seen it back then, this one wouldn't have connected much with me, because in my 20s I wouldn't have had the interest in films like this that are centered around people in their 50s and 60s reflecting on their lives, relationships, emotional regrets. It just wouldn't have resonated as much with me in that moment. So however it's turned out, it's probably a good thing that I'm in the sweet spot now to take this film in, being in my early 50s. So this one is, back to Woody Allen for a sec. Woody Allen makes lots of films that he's in, and he's made quite a few other ones that he's not in. This is one of the ones that he's not in. from his earlier career anyway, I can't comment as much on the later career, but from his earlier career, the ones that he's not in tend to be more drama focused, and the ones that he's in, understandably, have more of a comic bent to them. So he's not in this one. This one is chiefly starring Gina Rowlands. She is a woman. She's a philosophy professor who's also a writer, and she's renting a quiet apartment so that she can focus on her writing in New York City, of course. When she gets there, she discovers that she can unwittingly overhear therapy sessions that are taking place next door through the vents. There's a psychiatrist in there, and it's clear as a bell coming through. And she puts a couple of cushions there. She's really not interested in sort of sitting there and listening to it, but even with the cushions there, she can't help but hear some of the comments that are coming through. And what starts out as her simply listening to some of these intimate thoughts and struggles of strangers slowly turns into something much deeper, and she starts to reflect on her own life and her own relationships and her own regrets. And we kind of get this meta film within a film, Russian doll, whatever, however you want to call it. She starts thinking a lot more about her life, which has been going along quite well. She's married to a successful guy played by Ian Holm. Most people know Ian Holm from Alien. He was one of the pivotal characters in that. But yeah, seasoned British actor. And they're coming up to their wedding anniversary. They're both in their 50s, and they entertain a lot. They go out a lot. It seems like every night they're out with friends. And she starts sort of thinking about, why aren't we ever alone? And he's always got an answer for everything. He's coming off a failed marriage, where he also, I think when they started their relationship, he was still married, but it was right in the death throes. And so she starts questioning her own relationship, and some things fall into place for her. Anyway, that's what it's about. It's typical Woody Allen territory in terms of upwardly mobile, successful, creative people examining their lives, and lots of dialogue, and but it's more of a serious take. A bit like Interiors was, and there's some other films, particularly from the mid-'80s onwards, mid-'80s to sort of early 90s is my recollection, where there were some more serious Woody Allen films, whereas the ones from the early to mid-'70s were much more comedy focused. So anyway, that's what it's about. Gina Rowlands kind of really owns this film. I could nearly surmise that he wrote this for her. It's a perfect role for her. She's such a seasoned actress by this point. She was in her late 50s. She's chiefly known as the partner / muse of John Cassavetes, who passed away around this time. She was in just about all of his films from probably the late 60s onwards, and she can carry a film. She was a brilliant actress. I think she only passed away a few years ago. She lived a very long life. Yeah, she's one of those. She's one of those actresses of a time who probably didn't get the acclaim that she was due. She's not flashy, like she's not Sophia Loren or Elizabeth Taylor or someone like that, but she is a very, very an incredible actress. And a lot of the parts that I've seen her in, she's playing not damaged women, but women who are very intelligent and are going through a crisis and trying to deal with it. A lot of those Cassavetes films, that's what she's doing. She's up against some really alpha males in those ones. Not so much in this one. But anyway, she really carries this film, and it's a good thing that she's doing it, because if a weaker actress or someone who wasn't as commanding was in the role, this film wouldn't work. She's really believable. It's a really internal performance. There's no, there aren't really many huge dramatic flourishes. There's a lot of subtle changes in expression and reflection, and she uses her face well to show discomfort, and especially as she's slowly confronting some truths about herself that she's probably avoided for years. Genuine acting masterclass from her. Ian Holm's really good too as her husband. He doesn't have as much to do, and it's a fairly unsympathetic character, to be honest. He's quite unemotional, and he sort of looks at these. He's got this way of looking at these emotional parts of his life, like his marriage or his relationships with other people, very unemotionally and objectively. He keeps on saying that he understands the criticism of him, like it's a critical text or something. So it's a tough role, but he's really good. I did want to touch though on Gene Hackman in the supporting cast, and look, if I'm honest, yes, this movie gets a lot of good reviews, and yes, I'm into some Woody Allen films more than others. When I saw that he was in this, first thing I thought, what? Gene Hackman in a Woody Allen film? And then it really made me want to check it out, because particularly since Gene Hackman's passing, and watching some of his earlier films like French Connection, Bonnie and Clyde, even some of his later films like Crimson Tide, Unforgiven, Royal Tenenbaums. He's one of those actors that I forgot how good he was when he was here, and I just took him for granted, and I never really thought of him as being in the top echelon of actors, but I've reflected more, and I really think he was a genius actor. And it was so great seeing him show up in this one, but he's so different in this. It really showcases the range that he had. And the fact that he's in a Woody Allen film, for one, so he's wearing the traditional Woody Allen male character ensemble of cardigans and beige slacks and professor-looking clothes, and that's a new one for Gene as well. The films I've seen him in, anyway. I'm used to seeing him as quite forceful, alpha male, aggressive, commanding, a big presence. He's a big guy, right? But in this one, he's a much more reflective, emotionally vulnerable character, and that was a revelation to me. There's some scenes with Gina Rowlands where he's trying to win her over and trying to convince her to leave her husband. And I haven't seen Gene Hackman do that much. He doesn't do these sort of roles where it's about human relationships. He's an action guy, even in a dramatic sense. He's, when I think of his roles, he's doing something. He's a man of action. Not sitting around in parties thrown by professors and writers and talking about the culture and relationships. That is usually not Gene Hackman's lane, but he's brilliant. So again, kudos to you, Gene. You were a great actor. And there's some good scenes as well. Getting back to Gina Rowlands, there are some confronting scenes between her and Ian Holm when she's trying to nearly provoke a reaction from him, and she just can't get it. She just can't get anything out of him, and that's when she knows that it's over. There's lots of those one-on-one conversations in this film. Some of them turn explosive. There's a brilliant scene between Gina Rowlands and she just bumps into a friend of hers that she grew up with, and the friend went on to become an actress, and she hadn't seen this woman for years, and she's there with her husband, and they go for a drink, and it's a great scene because this woman is so jealous of Gina Rowlands and her husband talking together, and all this stuff comes out about why they haven't spoken for years, the friends. And it's beautifully played by both the actresses. It was in the trailer that's at the start of this episode. So, yeah, there's heaps of really good conversations like that in this one. So it's a good film. And I've noticed something lately watching these Woody Allen films again is that I'm connecting a lot more with these serious films instead of the earlier comedic ones. So like I said, Interiors, I was pleasantly surprised, and this one is really good too. They're landing with me a lot more than something like Manhattan, which is what I really associated with Woody Allen when I first got into his films, 30 years ago. And this late 80s period especially feels like one of his strongest creative runs. Hannah and Her Sisters came out a couple of years before this and was acclaimed. He had this. He had Crimes and Misdemeanors coming up, and then Husbands and Wives. They were some really critically acclaimed films, and my recollection is that they're more serious ones and not always with him in them. Again, this is telling me something. Apart from Annie Hall, it seems to be a bit of an outlier for me. I should rewatch that and see what I think. But I watched it a couple of years ago and it still stood up. So I'd expect that to be the case. So another thing is that whenever I see at the start, he's got this thing where he puts up in black and white who the actors are, his cameraman, all the people that work with him, his producer. And it's always written and directed by him. So whatever I say about him or other people say, his output was absolutely prodigious and must have just been a workaholic. The quality very rarely dips. Whether it's resonating with me or not is beside the point. It resonates with a lot of people. So, and he's such a big figure in this world. This one doesn't depart from the usual Woody Allen visual palette. You get lots of greys and beiges and off-whites and muted interiors and all these understated environments, very emotionally controlled, nearly sterile. Obviously what he's aiming for. And for the most part, it perfectly reflects the people that inhabit these worlds yet again, like as in Interiors, where everything sort of feels subdued on the surface, but there's emotional chaos just simmering underneath. It looks fantastic. The cinematography's brilliant. Everything's clear and crisp in that late 80s Woody Allen style. Most of the themes in this are reflected beautifully through Gina Rowlands' character. At its heart, I think this is a film about looking back. Literally, there's lots of scenes where Rowlands' character is looking back to her childhood and her teens and some of the key relationships with her father, who's played by John Houseman in this. He's such an individual, that guy. I always remember him from two films, The Paper Chase, which went on to be a TV show as well about he was a professor in one of the US universities and a real stickler and a real original iconoclast. Good film. I'd like to watch that again if I could find it. And then I saw him in Rollerball a couple of years ago, and he's unbelievable in that one opposite Jimmy Caan. He's like the head of the corporation that's trying to control Jonathan E. and make sure he doesn't get too popular. And he's just perfect in these. He's very stately and of the time. He's got these big bushy eyebrows that go out of control, and he's got that voice, that commanding, like a college professor. That's why he's so perfect in The Paper Chase. But anyway, he's got a couple of key scenes in this as Gina Rowlands' father. So yeah, look, it's also about this thing that happens, and I can speak from experience. When you're in your 50s, you do start looking you start looking ahead, but you start looking back, and you're sort of this in-between part of your life where you're wondering what you've done, where's it all gone, has it been meaningful, what's to come, how long have I got left? It sounds a bit crazy, and it is a bit crazy. It's an adjustment. Your kids are sort of moving in their own circles and forging their own lives, which I think is a good thing. But yeah, it's a real time for probably looking and reflecting, and that's what this is about. And Gina Rollins' character is thinking about relationships she shouldn't have had, and maybe she lets opportunities pass. The interludes with Hackman are great illustrations of that. And convincing yourself that certain decisions were correct when really in your heart of hearts you know that they weren't. Maybe you made decisions for other reasons. So look, it's really a film about emotional self-deception in a lot of ways, and coming to terms with that and maybe taking action while you still can. Once again, and I keep noticing this in these types of films, this is first world problems. This is about financially well-off people who have rich, fulfilling lives, but they're not happy. And, you know, a lot of us in first world countries fall prey to this, and maybe we haven't struggled enough. Maybe we're prone to this at these certain ages, but these people still can't figure out their own lives, and they're making bad decisions or recovering from bad decisions. Gina Rollins' character in this, like I said, she's a philosophy academic and writer, acclaimed. She's doing what she's following a passion and getting well paid for that. And she's got this wide array of successful, creative, interesting people that she associates with, and she's still not happy. And again, it's a fine line in these films between whining and really being engaged and with these characters and relating to them. I mean, deep down, that people are people, right? And if you're struggling, you're struggling. But some of these other films, I have had enough sometimes of these people navel gazing for an hour and a half. I didn't find that with this one. It's so well done, and the dialogue's great, and the acting's so good that it didn't happen. The running time helps as well. 82 minutes. I love that. But again, this Schadenfreude happens with me too, where I get reassured watching these successful people struggle the same way the rest of us do. And that's part of Woody Allen's magic, that no matter how intelligent or cultured these people are, they're still completely lost at times. And sometimes maybe they're more prone to this than the rest of us that aren't as intelligent or cultured. Maybe it's a good thing that we're not all so creatively brilliant, and we just live our lives and don't think about it so much. So pros and cons, right? Yeah, I touched on it. The 82-minute running time, love it. Gets in, tells its story, gets out. No wasted movement in this. No unnecessary subplots, I thought. There's a few things going on. There is an interesting subplot with Ian Holmes' daughter, played by Martha Plimpton. She had a moment there for a while, late 80s, early 90s, and she was with River Phoenix before he sadly passed away. And she's got an interesting face, and she fits in well to this film. I was quite critical of Mariel Hemingway in the Manhattan Pod, who just, I thought, dragged that film down. Martha Plimpton really does well in this. She's on the same wavelength energy-wise, and she seems intelligent, and some great scenes with her and Gina Rollins throughout, and it's a good touchstone to Rollins' past. So she was a good addition. But anyway, yeah, this one just quietly unfolds over its running time. I never felt bored. I wasn't glancing at my phone. It just felt that it rings true in the way that people can sometimes betray each other and delude themselves over time and have regrets. And yeah, well done. I'm glad I watched this now, because I know for certain it wouldn't have resonated with me 25 or 30 years ago if in fact I did see it back then. It's a film that finds me at the right stage of life to appreciate it. It is quietly devastating in moments, exceptionally acted. And another reminder for me that some of Woody Allen's strongest films are the more serious, reflective ones, rather than the comedic classics that I first, I guess, got into back in the day. So depends what stage of life you're at and what you're looking for. So yeah, that's it. That's Another Woman from 1988. Hope you enjoyed listening, and see you next time.